What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, a.k.a. 1/3 of the New Day. You're not going to say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers in your face! Our weekly WWE podcast where we dive into the soap opera nature of the WWE. We're talking storylines, we're talking characters, why they do what they do, and maybe even a little sprinkle of fantasy booking. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
Now I'm in your face. I'm Jem.
This is, as we said, this is our Raw and SmackDown review. It comes at you every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to the social medias. That's Facebook, Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the down below area. If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures where you can watch us record this show live. Oh, I have a hiccup and a burp. Oh. I'm back. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this little wrestling podcast. If you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, be sure to give it a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching us on Spotify, I think they have ratings as well, or maybe even YouTube, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment below, and I will do my very best to answer every single comment. Speaking of, we still need to follow up with that request from Gabby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that we
I've been digging deep.
You've been digging deep? Before we jump in, let me finish this wrap up and then we'll jump into that. And if you want to support the show financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist. This week we received a new patron producer by the name of Solomon Barak. Thank you, Sol, you champion, for supporting both this show and for the players. That's the PopC PlayStation Pod. And of course, you can buy our merchandise by popc.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. So, Jem, you've been diving deep in. So follow up from a couple of weeks ago, we received a lovely request through our website saying, "Hey, fan of the show, I'd love to hear what you guys consider the top soap opera storylines for WWE." Now, Jem, I know you've done some searching, you've done some hunting.
I have. And yeah, one thing that came up that I had actually forgotten about as I was doing some searching through Instagram of all places was back in the day when The Miz first started in the WWE and he was still wearing weird little fedora looking hats and stuff like that. He was part of, like, he had this little thing with, like, it was Kelly, Layla, and somebody else. They were called Extreme Expose. Oh. And he was, like, their manager. And Kelly was interested in this real roughhousing wrestler, kind of Mick Foley looking guy named Balls Mahoney. Now, I've forgotten about this whole little... Yeah, I forgot about this whole... Balls Mahoney, I forgot about this whole little love story.
That's about as silly as like when you were tits. What was fuck your name for a while?
Busty McLusty.
That's the one. Yeah.
He has dead set. Balls Mahoney has the big old Tiger King eyebrow ring. He was a character, missing teeth and everything. And he gave her a teddy that was dressed up like him, and she carried it everywhere. And he asked her out on a date, and she was like, yes. And then the Miz was like, I'm in charge of you. You're not going out with him. And she's like, oh no. And I forgot about that whole saga. Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. He was essentially a pimp. But yeah, I forgot about that whole thing, and I was like, oh man, I forgot about that. And as I was digging, more things started coming up, and I was just like, oh, we're gonna be here for a while.
Because there's a lot. There's the whole. Who was trying to there was the whole stuff with Ministry when Undertaker was trying to take Stephanie McMahon and sacrifice her. I think he tried to marry her as well.
Yeah. Triple H did that. He took Stephanie off somebody else and married her, and then there was a whole Agent Lita thing, and John Cena and Maria had a little thing, and
Then there's of course the the what we will talk about a little bit more this week is the Dominic Mysterio. I'm your puppy. I'm pretty sure like Dash in the chat goes, yep, 1999 Undertaker kidnapped Steph. I'm pretty sure that's like the first episode of SmackDown was one of these things happened.
Yeah.
So I went back and watched episode 1 of SmackDown. I'm like, I want to see what episode 1 was, and then that was this shit. I'm like, oh my god, SmackDown rocks.
No, it was. Yeah, there's so many things. So I'm going to have to make like a top 10 list of like my top 10 most soap opera moments or something like that.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Bean, anyway, man.
Yeah, good, man. Just getting ready for the new job. I start on Friday, so a little bit nervous. But other than that, I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm a good man. I'm about to have a week off work, which I'm excited. I've been looking forward to. Like, we haven't stopped since this whole world pandemic kicked in a gear. So I've really only had I had a week off earlier in the year, probably like a month and 2 months ago, what it feels like anyway, month and a half ago. But I ended up having to work the middle of it, so it kind of felt like 2 long weekends, which was really a bummer. So I got a full week off. As of day this goes up Thursday, I go on Friday through to the back on the Monday after.
Hell yeah.
I'm not what I have planned. I'm just going to chill out for a little bit.
You've earned it.
Get excited because PS5 news is coming. Probably do some more DDP yoga and stuff like that because, as I should do. I should keep doing this, as I said, keep myself accountable. Ryan, get less fat update. As of right now, I have lost 24 kilos. That is since March of this year when I started my journey with the Man Shake. Not this is water bottle, but the Man Shake. So doing that and kicking that into gear. So as I think I talked about a couple of weeks ago, I started this at 4XL shirts. I'm now in XL. I started at 44 size pants. I'm now a 38. So yeah, that's 6 inches off my waist. I had to actually go buy new shorts today because mine literally just fell off me this morning. Because it's one of those things where they're so large, you put the belt on, and it's just like all bunched and shit, and they just fall under the belt. It's a comically large pants. So it's a very, very good problem to have. But, awesome. I said I shout out to the Man Shake, and of course DDP himself. That yoga does wonders, is what I'm saying.
Does it?
Anyway, that's good. It's not about me, Jem. I'm fucking boring. Yeah. You're awesome. That's enough about you too. Let's get into let's talk about what we come here to do, and that is to talk about the wrestling. So let's talk about SmackDown. Jem, now where do you want to kick off the thing? Because once again, the way this works, ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't know who may be new, is that we dive into the soap opera stuff. For us, it's about characters, it's about stories. That's where we focus on. So we'll do a recap of the episode, but even then, primarily, it's recapping where those stories are heading. Maybe not the matches specifically, and it may not even be order of how it appeared in the show. We're going to talk about the stuff that we want to talk about in regards to that. So, Jem, where do you want to kick SmackDown off this week?
I want to talk about the Intercontinental Championship.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is a big old kerfuffle that, I am so stuck on, and I don't know where the hell it's going to go or how the hell it's going to go or what. But Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles have a match tonight. And... as they're it's like an Intercontinental Championship match, and as the thing pops up on the screen, we cut to Sami Zayn in the truck, and he's like, what the hell is this? Why is this an Intercontinental Championship? I'm the Intercontinental Champion, and starts pressing buttons and turns shit off. And then, we have the match, and Sami Zayn interferes in the match, attacking AJ Styles, which causes the DQ to Jeff Hardy, and then clocking Jeff Hardy with a big old haluva kick again, which is basically the same thing he did last week. All under the guise that he is the true champion and that Jeff Hardy is illegitimate and a sham champion and it's all fake, and he should still be champion because he didn't technically give it up. He took a small break and they took it off him. And, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this, and I need some input. I need you to help me here. What is going on?
See, the difficulty here is Sammy can't let go. he made a choice. His choice was to take some time away, and that has consequences. He is not willing to accept the consequences of his actions. So rather than look inwards and be like, this is the mistakes that I have made, I made the choice to not be champion. Not directly, but I indirectly made the choice not to be champion. So I'm not, I don't have the title right now. However, so instead of taking that stuff internally, however, he's projecting that on, the likes of Jeff Hardy, the current champion, and AJ Styles because he's nearby. And this can only end one way, and that's him losing his pretend title. That's all it is. Like, I don't see this going any other way. Like, Jeff Hardy, legitimate champion, earned it, had a go. Like, even AJ had a good run. Like, he had the belt prior to Jeff, and he had it for a while, and he fought with it. He created the piss system. Like, he had plans. He had extensive work and effort, more than Sammy put in that 4 months.
He won the tournament that Sammy forfeit.
Yeah,
like the title was forfeit for. Like, and this is what gets me is like, we'll talk about it later, but there is a superstar who even says, if I'm not medically cleared to compete or whatever it may be, like, that means I have to forfeit the title. Like, it is commonly known throughout the whole of the WWE that if you cannot compete for an extended period of time, I think it's like 4 weeks or so with a belt, you can't, like, if you can't defend your title, you can't be a champion. It's that simple.
And like, that's a fair rule. Like, what did he expect? He went for 4 months. Not 4 weeks, as you mentioned. 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just, I have a feeling this is going to end in a triple threat match. And
at Clash, probably, yeah.
Yeah, at Clash, probably. Because we do see, like, Jeff, obviously, as he's leaving, he collapses on the ramp, and they take him backstage, and they claim it's dehydration, and Elise is back there, like, reporting that they've been told it's dehydration, and AJ comes up, and he's like, this is a joke, I can beat both of these two, like, this needs to stop, I'm the uncrowned champion. And then later we cut back into the trainer's room, and Sami Zayn comes in with his belt taunting Jeff Hardy, and then Jeff just attacks, and they end up, like, messing up the trainer's room, and it's just like, how... We know where this is going. Like, stop dragging it out and just be like, this is going to happen, and leave it until then, because at the moment I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care.
It is difficult to be invested in it, especially because this whole issue right now is not being fed by the current Intercontinental Champion. Like, it is essentially, he is Karening it up pretty hard. He's coming in, he's making false accusations, he's making claims, making these outrageous, causing distractions, just being obnoxious, and just being straight up incorrect. And then, of course, the man of the apparent man of reason, Adam Pearce. Adam? Yeah, sure. Fuck yeah, we'll go Adam. Adam Pearce comes in. He's being old kindergarten cop Adam Pearce and kicking him out and doing the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, but Sammy's.
It sucks for Jeff because it's forcing Jeff to not actively do what he wants to do. He talks about wanting to be a fighting champion, and he's not being able to do that right now because he's having to deal with this garbage.
Yeah, it sucks. I feel like there's so many other people deserving of it. AJ's had his go. Sammy's has his go. Like, put somebody else in that picture. Come on. Like, there's so many more other people I would be interested in seeing.
I would agree. I would completely agree. Yeah. Right now, who would that be? No idea. Because it's just that they're really focusing on like certain faces, so it's there's a lot of build up that would be required to get someone to that point, but there's no one that I can really think of. You know what I mean? It's kind of like.
I know who I'd want to see.
Who do you want to see?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah!
Otis!
As IC champion.
Yeah, hell yeah! Why not?
Well, as we do know, he does have the money in the lunchbox championship. Body by steak, baby, says March on the chat. I love that shirt, by the way. I might have to pick it up.
I know.
Even though I already just bought like 7 new shirts, I probably shouldn't. Otis has the money in the lunchbox, which, might I add, which I've now since confirmed, you can buy that lunchbox.
Yes, we confirmed that last week.
Was it last week? Beautiful. I can't remember whether I think I've talked about it numerous times since last week.
Yes.
Because I'm I want it. I put my snaps in there, put my handshake in there. It's the perfect little lunchbox for me, and it looks awesome. Yeah. So that's where he's keeping the things, but don't be fooled, Jem. He's babushka doling that shit. He has a briefcase with the lunchbox with the thing in it.
Remember when they were playing him up to be really stupid? And then he's just like, he's done a Paris Hilton on us.
Oh my God. Side note, that documentary's fucking mad.
Yeah, he's done a Paris Hilton on us, and he was playing us that whole time.
He's worked us this whole time.
He is a fucking smart man, because he's in a match this week against John Morrison, obviously after the case being stolen last week, with Miz on commentary. And Miz gets in for a distraction. Tucky tries to come in and like stop it from happening. And during the whole kerfuffle, Miz offs with the little lunchbox. And Tucky, being the great friend that Tucker is, he's like, let's go get it back. Like, let's go, let's give chase. And Otis is like, Tucky, chill. Like, I got this. He got a lunchbox, not the lunchbox. And he opens the Money in the Bank case to find another lunchbox with the contract in it. And I was like, you Otis. You just
what I'm looking forward to is next week, when inside that lunchbox is an even smaller briefcase. That's what I'm looking forward to. And it's just
like a tiny little money in the envelope. Just a green envelope with the contract in it.
Yeah.
I want to know what he's going to come up with next, because like this time the lunchbox had an eaten apple core in it.
Or next time they open it and there's a ham in there and it's jammed inside the ham like it's a duckin'. But it's a money in the ham.
Yeah. But this obviously prompts.
And then the week after, it's in a chicken, which is in a duck, which is in a turkey. It's in there.
Turkey, yeah.
Because Thanksgiving's coming up.
Time.
Yeah, we're about to hit October, so Thanksgiving's on its way. That's in November, but Halloween's coming up. Maybe it'll be in a pumpkin, and then in October it'll be inside a turkey. It's all, the potential of shit in shit is pretty high this time of the year.
Yeah, and of all people to do it, why not Otis and Tucker?
That's right.
But this does lead Miz to like crack the shits, and Miz is like, that's it, I'm calling in a favor. And then that's all we hear of it. So I'm interested. I just want to know what else like Otis is going to come out with. Like, that's all I care about in this now is like, what other shit are you going to get around? Like, what are they going to steal? They're going to steal them both next. And then suddenly he just pulls it out of his underwear. Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, no one wants to sign that one off. Yeah, so once again, we're seeing a lot of this. So let's go back to where we started about this, Jem. Because one thing we've been speculating a lot recently is about how Otis will use this briefcase. Now, originally, the idea was that you presume he's going to go for the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship. Right now, he doesn't look to be in a position to take either of those guys on, whether that be Roman Reigns or whether that be Drew McIntyre. So I have been pushing for the longest time that he goes after the tag belts.
Yes.
But you're thinking he goes to the Intercontinental? Well. Yeah.
I mean, why not? Because like we discussed, like we've been talking about the tag team championships, and like I guess this all leads into this as well, is this week we did have the Street Profits come across after the Cesaro and Shinsuke going to Raw last week, and then obviously this week they have a match on Raw as well. So we've been talking about this whole unification of the belts and how it seems like that is coming to fruition, which is seeming more and more like that. So yeah, I think, with there being so much competition for that, if that were to happen, I would see him going for something like an IC title, because, I mean, we still don't know if he can go for the tag team titles. I think
we don't even know whether he can go for the mid-card titles. As far as the I believe up until this point, no one's ever confirmed it in the chat if anyone knows. I'm pretty confident that no one's ever used the title on any of the other belts. They've always gone for the big guy. Now, granted, I think you might have a point there, because as we literally just said, we have no idea who else would be in that picture. And I think that might be the right idea. Is, rather than go over to the tag team, even though it would make sense for Otis and Tucker as a team with Heavy Machinery, Why not go where there's nobody else?
Yeah, exactly it. I mean, he could get a long ass title reign out of it. Like, you never know what could happen there.
Craig does
They could
bring
end
up a
up with
point
all the
though.
gold.
He could somehow become the women's champion. No one's ever claimed cross gender before, so that's possible. Oscar
touche,
would.
touche.
He says Oscar, but I think Oscar would kick his asshole. I don't, you know.
Oh, yeah. I think, if he's going after anybody, he's going after Bailey.
Yeah, Oscar don't care.
Bailey's got no chance.
She'll murder anyone. She's fine.
Yeah. Bailey's got no
But
chance.
yeah, so Dash does confirm it. It has never happened. As it's always been the world title, not one of the.
Because I'm pretty sure the
regional
contract states that they can go for any belt
title.
of their choice. I think
But-
so.
It is one of those things though. Like there is that expectation that you would go for the big one, like because that's everyone strives for that big one.
It's a free,
But
it's a free shot.
I do certainly think that, you know, Tucky's as I said, Tucky's a smart man. I believe he knows his capabilities. I believe he knows his potential. So if I were him, I would play that. I would play it safe. You know, like look, if it was me, and for some reason I won Money in the Bank, don't know how.
You mean Otis? You said
No, I meant me. I meant physically me. Like if it was me, I would take that angle. I would, sorry, with Otis, yeah. If I had won the title, I would play that same safe bet. I would go to the mid. If I was in a tag team with, say, the Mullet, I would go over there. That was where I would need to go.
Me too.
You know what I mean? Because like that's the safer bet. Like the big guys are at the top, and I don't. You know that's
play
the
it
tough
safe.
part for
Take
me
something
personally.
you know you can take off somebody. I mean, he's hurling John Morrison around. He can hurl Jeff Hardy around.
Well, Dash brings up a good point, and this kind of does feed into the current storyline. So we both Miz and the Morrison attempting to steal the contract. You know, there was a discussion that it doesn't just by having it in your possession doesn't mean that it's yours. So Dash adds in the chat, no disrespect to the guy being Otis, but I honestly believe that they should take it off him and give the case to the Miz. Now that seems reasonable. Miz is mad. Miz is cool. I think the Miz has done a lot. He's been multiple time in championship. I'm pretty sure. But do you think this could be in the works?
Well, possibly, because he did say, you know, he's talking to John Morrison. He's like, you told me, like, you know, you can't just change the name on it. And the Miz is like, my lawyer said that any contract, like, there's loopholes in every contract. So I have a feeling that, obviously, the Miz calls in a favor, which we'll talk about later. But I have a feeling that is going to play
because I think that will play a role in this decision. So I think we'll discuss that.
Yeah.
So we come to learn that Miz on Talking Smack has pulled a favor and essentially had Mandy Rose be forced across to Raw. Into sort of Mandy Night
Rose.
Yeah, that one.
Mandy Night Raw. Mandy
Night Raw. There we go. Mandy Night Raw. I couldn't get that out, but that hurt me.
Yeah, same. It took me a second. I've been thinking about it all night.
So there is precedence here. Like there's frustrations from to Otis, you know, and he's gonna want his speech
back.
I'm not going to say that, but yeah, like he's going to have frustrations, and he's going to direct them at the Miz because Miz, as they said themselves, is the reason that Mandy's over there. Now, thankfully, they're not on tour or anything, so like the whole idea that, you know, one's in Denver and one's in New York, like that's not it's a bit different. They're both at the Thunderdome, so they're not entirely separated. They're just working on different days. Yeah. However, under the current pandemic, I imagine there's very big control on who's there on what day. So I imagine there's not a big chance that they're going to be able to be at the arena at the same time. If you're for SmackDown, you're for SmackDown. If you're for Raw, you're for Raw. There's no chance that Otis, regardless of his relationship with Mandy Rose, will be able to cross those rules. So I imagine I wouldn't surprise me if the Otis then confronts the Miz, and it's a situation of if he wins, Mandy comes back. If I lose, you get my Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you think, he'll put it up on the line, or do you think that it'll be like a Miz steals it and contract?
Because like that's the big question. Like, what's more important to Otis? Is it the briefcase or the lunchbox, or is it Mandy?
Yeah.
How do you think he'll handle it?
I think you're onto something there, and I definitely think it'll be a case of like he'll put the briefcase on the line.
Mm.
I think so. I think it'll come to that head where it'll be like, fine, like, if I win, yeah, I get Mandy back and I keep the briefcase. If you win, you get the Money in the Bank. And of course, like Miz and Morrison are very, very, very crafty dudes. I can guarantee that they'll guarantee themselves a win.
Yeah, something will
Like,
happen.
Yeah, like the only reason Otis got the win tonight was because of a distraction. So,
But then the real question would be, if Miz was to happen to win this, would he go? Who would he go for? Because we're going to talk Universal Championship right now, but
yeah.
I don't see the Miz having success against Roman Reigns.
No, neither do I. Especially not with Paul Heyman in the picture. I don't know. That opens up a lot of possibility there. Yeah, Wobbly Walrus, as we saw in the Funhouse.
Yeah, so before we jump into the Roman stuff, so the Firefly Funhouse this week introduced a new character. We had a feeling that it was going to be Alexa Bliss, who we know has been under the influence of Bray Wyatt the last couple of weeks, just since.
Which we'll talk about shortly.
Oh shit!
Because she did something tonight.
Was it Payback? No, since SummerSlam.
Yes.
And a little bit extra on that is she was having a four-way fatal four-way for the women's number one contendership for the women's the championship, where she turned and dropped a Sister Abigail on Nikki Cross, and then proceeded to just wander the fuck out of the arena.
Yeah, she started staring up into the air, and then because her and Nikki had teamed up and done this great thing, and then she started staring up into the air. And then next minute she grabs Nikki, who's Nikki's like, Lexi, and Alexa's not answering her. So Nikki crossbodies Tamina and Lacey Evans, and as she gets up, Alexa grabs her. And yeah, just a vicious kiss on the forehead, vicious Sister Abigail, and then just leaves. And it becomes a triple threat match.
Which is bizarre.
So bizarre.
Look, I'm just on a side note though, I'm just gonna put it out there, this whole get up, this fiend Alexa Bliss. Doing it for me.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it. It's all kinds of feeling it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It may have just been this week, because even Nikki Cross is doing it for me again this week. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Must be quiet time in the Betson marriage, in the Betson household.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Funhouse.
So we're under the assumption that it was going to be Alexa Bliss at the Firefly Funhouse. This would be, she's done the Sister Abigail, she's going to be welcomed into the Funhouse. Not so. Instead, we get introduced to Wobbly Walrus, a walrus.
Initially
it
was supposed to be Pasquale the Persevering Parrot, but Bray Wyatt.
Pasquale the Parrot, yes.
Yeah. And he appeared to be dead. And he's like, oops, I should have cut some holes in the box. And that's when Vince McMahon comes in and he's like, I can't trust you to do anything. You killed a new character, like the Vince puppet. And he's like, I can't trust you to keep a title. So I can't trust you with this show. So you're getting the Funhouse is getting an advisor. And that's when we meet Wobbly Walrus.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I genuinely snorted when I saw the clip on Twitter, on social, before I watched it, and I snorted because of the idea of it was because it looks like Paul Heyman. It's mad.
Yeah, it was very funny. It was very, very funny. I'll give them that. And then at the end of it, Bray Wyatt does the whole Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, the whole yowie wowie. It just ends on that. It's beautiful.
What I'm hoping, because I'm trying to think of where this is going to go, and if he is in fact the advisor for the Funhouse, part of me is hoping that this gets to a point where we have Paul Heyman cut a promo against Wobbly Walrus and vice versa. Right.
It's very clearly just trying to get into the head of Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. Very clear.
Well, once again, it makes complete sense, because if you are Bray Wyatt and you know that Roman Reigns, if he's got a manager, you know that there is some doubt in him. There is some doubt in Roman. He's still unsure how to be a heel Roman. And that's what Paul Heyman is there to do. So if you rile Paul Heyman, you will break Roman Reigns. And that's the approach that he's got here. And I really appreciate him like just trying to like, poke the bear or poke the walrus in this case. But yeah, no, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for, Paul Heyman in the ring, talking to the screen, cutting a promo against a walrus that looks like him. And that's what I want.
Yeah.
How do you rate Wobbly Walrus?
I chortled. It was great. It was great.
Chortled.
It's just like, that's perfect. Yeah. The haircut and everything is just perfect. Like the hair on the back of his head. None of it up here. Perfect.
No, that was mad.
Absolutely perfect.
Mad.
But yeah, it was very interesting about Alexa Bliss because it's making me wonder what's happening here. Because obviously she just walked out of this match, which was like, this was her opportunity to become the number one contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship, like at Clash of Champions. And that left poor Nikki Cross in the ring against Tamina and Lacey Evans. But what led up to it was Bayley came out first and she talked about what happened with Sasha Banks, and Bayley's just like, I know what you were doing, Sasha. And this is what I predicted. Sasha was using Bayley to like get herself up and that sort of thing. And I've been saying it for ages, like Sasha's working behind the scenes and I think she's playing Bayley for a puppet. And Bayley's like, yeah, she's playing me for a puppet. I know her the best. I know she's doing that because I was doing it right back at her. Yeah. She's like, I was doing her right back at her. So they were playing each other essentially. And Bayley's like, I loved every second of that beatdown I put on you because you deserved it. And I was like, oh. She walked out with her own chair and she sat in the ring on that chair and she was leaving with that chair. And as she was leaving, Nikki's entrance happened. And as Nikki was down, she was attacked with a chair by Bayley. And Bayley was like, good luck, Nikki, ha, ha, ha. And then, during the match, like, obviously, Nikki Cross finally starts to get into the fray and her and Alexa start getting a leg up and Alexa pops the Sister Abigail on her. And Nikki just copped a vicious beatdown. But she came out with the win with the roll-up on Tamina. So that means that she will be facing... she'll be facing Bayley for the number one, like for the title at Clash of Champions. And you know what?
Yeah, what a brilliant opportunistic win there by Nikki.
Yeah, exactly right. She just sort of kept herself out, gave herself time to recover, and then right at the end of it, bam, stole that win. And I am proud of her for doing that. That was awesome.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to back to that, the promo from Bayley, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely amazing. Because there is some vindication in here for us, because we have discussed that we believe that Bayley has been the stronger one, that Bayley has been using Sasha this whole time, sort of running off those fumes, and we've seen her be better, be more successful, be just overall meaner since being with Sasha.
And I always thought Sasha was behind it all. So it's like that balance of like...
But it appears to be the exact opposite, which is amazing. And that's what we've seen here. And, I'll say it before and I'll say it again. This Bayley is better than Hugger Bayley. She is smart. She is calculating. She's manipulative. She is a do-what-it-takes champion. Which, of course, has had some sneaky, dirty stuff with it. But it also means that she's taken wins. She's played smart. She's taken the wins where she could, and she's done amazing. Mm-hmm. And it looks like Sasha, as we said, will be out for a little while, and that's pretty much what we were heading at here. Yeah. And and as Craig says in the chat, she cuts better promos.
Yeah. Oh,
because she's confident, and that confidence is oozing in what she's doing. Like, this is who she's meant to be. Yeah. Like, I imagine at one window in time when she was younger, we all know this, Jem. When we're younger, we have a more positive outlook on the world, and sometimes just want to like, this is the world. Let's hug the world. Where right now we're all old and bitter, and we're like, fuck the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where Bayley has transitioned. So with that maturity, with that confidence, with that age, this is who she is.
Yeah, she's really growing into herself. And, she even says, she's like, I used you to become Bayley doll straps. I used you to get this championship. I used you to keep this championship so that I am the longest reigning women's SmackDown champion. She's like, I used you and I loved every minute of it. And I was like, oof. Like, she just played the player and damn, like, that was a good move.
Yeah. It was mad.
I'm all for it.
Absolutely mad. But
We know it's
having
coming.
Nikki come in with the win is good.
I love it.
Nikki's going to get a shit kicked out of her, sadly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We know what's coming. There's no way that belt's changing hands, but it doesn't make me want that match any less.
Yeah, because I think Nikki's come far since her last attempt at it, which I think was at SummerSlam. Yeah, I mean, even then, I'm cool with it. I think it's great. Yeah. You know, I want to see that more than I want to see Tamina. It's more than I want to see Lacey Evans.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, with Mandy Rose on Raw, there's even less women on this roster.
Yes. That's the thing. Like, that was basically, like, everybody that was in the ring was all the women on SmackDown at the moment. It literally was.
Well, because before we started recording, we pulled up the SmackDown roster, and aside from who's in that ring, there's Maurice. She hasn't competed in a while. Yeah, Mickie James is a SmackDown competitor apparently, but she's on Raw. Of course, according to the WWE website, might I add. Ember Moon, but she's off injured. She's been injured for a while. Who else was on there? Dana Brooke
and Carmella.
But Carmella. Now, the difference here is we believe that Carmella is around.
Yeah,
but, she's
they've been cutting these little promos of like some sexy chick in heels and little silver get up and blonde hair, and I was like, is that Carmella? I think that's Carmella because I know Mella's blonde now, so it's 100% Carmella.
There's a tattoo on the side or in the bicep that kind of gave it away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks as if Carmella is getting a rebrand. So Carmella has been off for a while. She's been quiet. There was speculation or rumor that she may have been part of Retribution, but as we've come to learn, Retribution have seemed to focus their target on Raw.
Yes.
We are seeing them less here on the Blue brand.
Yeah.
So do you think this is a better decision for Carmella? Do you let's devil's advocate. Let's say she was in Retribution. Do you think that would have been a better option than her trying to become this new sexed up character?
Nah, I don't think Retribution would do anything for her because, like, we'll talk about it on Raw, but they cut a promo that just makes me believe that, like, nobody in the main roster belongs to them.
Very much so.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think a rebrand is probably what she needs because all that people know her for now is being Corey Graves' missus. Like, she needs that little edge up.
Because even the whole Mala is money is old. Like, that was when she was champion. Even that's like, what, 2 years old, 3 years old?
Yeah, exactly right.
So she hasn't really had a good run in the last 3 years.
No, exactly right. So I think a rebrand is actually, like, what needs to be coming for her. But yeah, we saw a match against the Lucha House Party and Shinsuke and Cesaro as well. Now, I just want to talk about this very briefly because obviously Kalisto came back like a week or two ago from being away, and he's like, you know, I'm the leader of the Lucha House Party and I'm going to lead us to victory tonight and yada, yada, yada. And, like, they do end up getting the win off the distraction of the Street Profits absolutely ruining the Champions Lounge, and Shinsuke and Cesaro get pissed. And Kalisto gets a roll up for the 1, 2, 3 on Cesaro. But it looks like with that comment in that pre-match promo, it looks like there might be a little bit of hostility between the Lucha House Party.
Well, we've been seeing it for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
Like, Kalisto has tried to appoint himself as the leader of the trio, but it's not being as well received by everyone around. It's it's a tough one, you know?
Yeah. Do you think that there might, like, do you think they'd be better off splitting? Or do you think they'd be better off staying as a tag?
Do we need more tag teams being broken?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like, unless they unify the title, which, if anything, the result here kind of hinted at that. Now, if I remember right, the Luchas won.
Yes, yeah, they did. They beat the tag champions.
Then, spoilers, they take the since Shinsuke, Nakamura, and Cesaro also take the L over on Raw.
They do.
As we said last week, man, those belts are coming together. Clash of Champions.
It's to be expected on Raw.
For one unified tag title.
Yeah.
Again.
And it's to be expected that they take the loss on Raw because that's the Street Profits show, but taking the L.
But showing that they're incapable of taking a win on their own show.
Exactly. But I am all for, like, if anybody's going to separate, I want Shinsuke and Cesaro separated. Because I think Shinsuke does better as a singles competitor than he does in a tag team. Even though, like, it was a great match, don't get me wrong. Like, Cesaro and Shinsuke are good wrestlers. I feel like they're better individually as like, compared to a team. Like, and I love Sheamus to bits, but I honestly think the Bar should be reunited. Because the Bar were a force to be reckoned with, and it really gave Sheamus and Cesaro both some really big purpose. You know, they're big, burly dudes. They kick ass. Like, they just worked well together. And, like, I don't know, like I said, I love Sheamus, but I hate this whole, like, Scottish lad thing.
Yeah, the Irish lad, by the way.
Yeah, Irish lad
the
thing.
Irish bar fighter. You know, it's interesting. I don't think it's working.
I don't either.
And I'm in the same boat as you. I would love to see the Bar return.
They
And
are one of our ratings.
Think under the current circumstances, pardon me, the line between singles and tag is blurring.
Oh, it's so blurry.
With many tag teams having individuals doing tag runs and vice versa, there is a bit of a precedent. Like, it's totally cool if they were even to be a team and still have Sheamus do his single stuff.
Yeah, exactly it. I mean, you know, great segue, but, like, speaking of, like, tag teams that are separated at the moment with one of their members having a single run, like, Jey Uso right now. Like, you know, we don't have the Usos, who are one of the best tag teams, in my opinion, because Jimmy's out injured. So it's Jey out here. And Jey, thanks to... This is where it gets confusing. Because Roman Reigns comes out with Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman's like, you know, Roman Reigns, so your tribal leader has allowed me to introduce, you know, your cousin, brings out Jey Uso.
Your cuz, yeah.
Yeah, Jay's like, thanks, man. And, like, last week, Roman's like, don't thank me, thank Paul. And then Jey says thanks to Paul, and Paul's like, don't thank me, thank Roman. And it's like, whose decision was it?
Yeah, then like, who fucking did it?
Yeah,
I've got to thank someone, all right? Let me thank someone.
Exactly it. But, yeah, you know, Roman's like, you know, I'm so proud of you, but just like when we were kids, like, you know, I'm going to whoop your ass, dude. And Roman basically gives off the idea that the reason that Jey is in this match is to take the L so Roman keeps the belt on, which is what I got.
Yeah, so he's essentially being like, look, he's essentially saying, for the family, throw this match.
Yeah, yeah.
I need you to help me carry this longer. Like, if anyone else, essentially saying like, let me step on your shoulders to get that little bit higher. Let me trod on you.
Yeah. And we're not the only ones that think that, because King Corbin and Sheamus both come out and say the same thing. Like, this reeks of you know, nepotism, I believe the word was.
So yeah, nepotism is by far the best way to explain it. Good word.
Yeah. So yeah, but then, like, Jey sort of throws Roman under the bus. Like, hey, like, if you think I'm not ready for this match, then how about you guys give me a reason to get ready, and you two face us two tonight. And that ends up becoming a match. And one thing I don't understand, and this is what pisses me off, is how can a match be started without, like, a tag match be started without one of the tag members? Like, why is it just suddenly okay for Roman Reigns to just show up at the end of the match and not be there for the whole thing? Like, you know, Jey comes out, he gets attacked by both Sheamus and King Corbin before his entrance. He does the whole match on his own. Roman Reigns comes out, tags himself in sneakily, cops a spear on Sheamus for the 1, 2, 3 and takes the win. Like, no.
Yeah.
How did that match even start in the first place without Roman? Like, it was a tag team match.
Yeah, but because you would presumably if one of your team members doesn't show up. So if you were playing involved in any other sport, and you're one person down on your team, they would say you have to forfeit.
Yeah.
You are one person short. You forfeit your team forfeits. You cannot compete.
Yeah.
And you would think that would happen here. Like, the only way around it, I believe, even then, because looking at the grey area of the payback match, is that if there is because I presume every match has a contract, not just title matches, right? There's still an agreement. So if there is an agreement that Roman's like, yes, I will be there for that match. I will be part of that match.
Yep, verbal agreement.
And he signs the agreement. So he signs the agreement, verbally accepts the agreement. It's one of those situations like, well, you both agreed to be here. One of you is. That's how we go for it. Like, unless there's unless there's a stipulation or a mention that both competitors must be there. Like, granted, with Payback, the match went ahead without him even signing the contract. They went ahead under the proviso that if he doesn't show, then this will continue as a 2-person match.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure just what I said because I confused myself. But it's very grey. Unless they're like, look, unless part of that agreement was rain, hail, or shine, one person or two, you will compete in this match.
Yeah. Yeah, see,
and they would have had to go, yep, I agree with that. Whatever happens, we will be there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's real grey and shady, and
it depends on the contract, like with WWE, I presume.
Yeah, I don't know. It's shady, it's grey, and I don't know. We'll see.
Mustn't be a whole lot left to SmackDown.
No, that was it. That was the last of it.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, Jem. Well, that's as we do every week, even though, as we say, we talk about how the story progresses. What did you think of SmackDown this week, Jem? Using our not-so-patented rating, for those that may be playing at home, we use the Kurt Angle rating system because he looks like a thumb. The best score an episode can get is 2 Kurt Angles, or you can get a Kurt, or a Kurt and a bar, or maybe just even a bar. So we work in for 1 to 4 point scale, and two Kurtz is the best. How do you rate this one, Jem?
Look, again, it was another tidy week. Like, everything just progressed real nicely. There wasn't too much that I was a bit like meh about. I mean, Shinsuke and Cesaro versus LHP was like, but Street Profits brought it up that little bit, so I'd probably call it dead down the middle and give it a Kurt.
Well, it's like because from my recollection, I remember enjoying this quite well. I argue that 2 hours is the perfect time for a wrestling show. 3 hours just sucks, so 2 hours is mint. Now, I'm torn. Because from what I remember, it should be it was Kurt in a bar when I finished watching it. However, in hindsight, in retrospect, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just a bar. Maybe it's just a Kurt. So I'm thinking I might go with you. I'll be conservative, give it a Kurt. Now, granted, we never actually record how we review them or whatever. We just do it for the funs of it, so it doesn't really matter anyway. It's Kurt.
Funsies.
Alrighty,
we'll get Kurt to patent it.
Oh, I said I do. If anyone wants to support us, if you do on the Patreon, we'll be using some Patreon money to reach out to Kurt Angle using Cameo.
It's my birthday next month.
It's mine the month after.
It is too.
We would love to have Kurt Angle be officially endorse the Kurt Angle rating system. Whether it would happen
Angle
or not,
approved.
I highly doubt it. Yeah, the Kurt Angle approved Kurt Angle. I will make a logo and everything that's just a thumb with Kurt's face on it.
I love it.
It'll be awesome. All right, let's get into the next. Let's talk some Raw, Jem.
Let's talk some Raw.
Where do you want to start?
Interestingly enough, this week, Byron Saxton was the only Raw commentating. We had Michael Cole again and Dolph Ziggler for half of it and MVP for the other half.
So it looks like everyone's getting some time off.
Yeah, but granted, Dolph Ziggler, super unbiased and really good on commentary. I'll give him credit for that. But as soon as commentary changed over to MVP, I'm like, what's the bet? Dolph's gone to Underground, which he had. So yay, look at me getting things right. But yeah, let's start with Raw Underground because that was interesting.
Yeah, so we've come to learn some new things about Raw Underground this week. So it appears that regardless of the quarterly fucking wild card. Raw Underground is immune to wild card rules.
It's cross-branded.
So anyone can go there and grab dick, according to that big Maori guy.
Yeah.
So Braun Strowman, he gave them hands.
Yeah, he wanted to
Raw
give those
Underground this
hands. Yeah.
He gave him.
Yeah.
So he comes in, he gets watch some dudes get bussed on. He comes in, busses them. Fucking old
Yeah,
Dix
it was
McGee
Dolph
comes
Ziggler and somebody first, and then Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah,
and
then he had a
Riddick
2-on-1
Moss.
handing. I think was it Riddick Moss?
Riddick Moss came in next, so Dolph won the first match, and then it was him and Riddick Moss, and then that's when Braun just came in and destroyed house. And then Titus O'Neil tries to come in and do the sneaky, and Titus gets his ass handed to him straight away. And then that big guy gets and then it ends up Dolph and Riddick Moss try to take out Braun, and that fails as well. And then it ends up being that big guy. I always forget his name, but he's about to go.
I don't know his name. I just call him Dick's Grabber because he's the one that grabbed that guy's cock to win.
Yeah.
So push comes to shove, old Dick's Grabber is gonna get them hands on Braun.
I'm sorry, that broke me. I'm so sorry.
No, that was the intention. Yeah, so best case scenario, they just go on a dick grabbing contest, and
But obviously
he feels the monster on that man.
Yeah, so Shane shuts
And
it
I just
down.
want to discuss something, by the way. How fucking ginormous is that guy at the door?
Oh my god, right? Huge. Massive.
So Braun is 6'7", I think.
And he's
this
got
guy's
an easy foot on him too.
This guy's 3 meters on Braun. Titus O'Neil, also a huge gentleman. He had 5 meters on Titus somehow.
Yeah, the guy's 7'11" or something like that. I don't know. That guy's tall.
Yeah, he's hardcore service station. He's a unit. Easily 7'6", says Dash. Just straight up.
Yeah.
He's got to be 7 foot or 7 foot something. He is a unit. He's as tall as the door frame, and that's
exactly right.
With plus.
So
that's baffling. I want to see him in there.
Yeah. But obviously there's a match set up for Raw Underground next week, which is going to be Braun Strowman meets old Dick Grabber McGee.
Oh, Dick's Grabber, yeah. That's how I hope it goes. That's really I can only see it going.
Grabs his junk and
I don't know who this guy is, but his claim to fame is grabbing cock during Raw Underground. So I'm down.
Yeah.
They're just getting their fucking dick off, and they're maybe this is how WWE will get its first ever dick flip. They wouldn't hire Joey Ryan, obviously prior to him doing all horrible shit, but they wanted Joey Ryan at one point. Maybe this is how they get there.
Oh god, you're horrible.
Raw Underpants is the mullet show.
That's great. That's great. One thing that did make me laugh though was R-Truth and that Kit Kat ad. Did you see that? He's standing there interrogating a Kit Kat bar, and then Liv walks up and flicks it and breaks it, and then he's like, "You weren't expecting that, were you?" I don't know. It
went
stupid,
slightly too long.
Yeah,
it probably went about a minute too long, but up until that last minute, I enjoyed the shit out of it.
It worked because after that, I was like, "Oh, I want a Kit Kat." So on them. It was probably Liv.
Their Kit Kats have weird logos and weird wrapping on them, like it.
Yeah, different. It was probably Liv Morgan.
It's different to the Australian Kit Kats. I can't handle it.
Yeah, no, I live for Liv. She's just goals. Love her. Speaking of the Riot Squad, Miss Liv Morgan and Miss Ruby Riot were in a little tag match against Lana and Natalia. Obviously, there's been a little bit going on with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax ringside. And Liv and Ruby obviously get the win leading up to Clash of Champions because they do have that number one contender shot at Clash of Champions. Just to, I guess, solidify how big and badass they are. Shayna and Nia attack Liv and Lana and Natalia, and Nia Jax puts Lana through the announce desk with a big old Samoan drop. Yeah, just shatters the whole thing with both of them. And I was like, oof, nice.
Side note, I know we'll get there. Actually, no, wait, I'll use that as a transition point. No, I was going to use it as a transition point. But I see where this is going. Obviously, as we know, the Right's got to getting a shot at the tag team
titles. Yep.
So there's no big surprises that they were going to get the win here. Makes sense.
Yeah. Exactly.
I enjoyed. Ruby normally wears a coloured shirt. She's wearing a black shirt today, which I enjoyed because it worked with the pants. It gave me it's matching with Liv.
Yeah, well, they've been matching the last couple of weeks. Last week they were wearing yellow tartan.
Yeah, they've got that leather sort of look together, so it's nice.
I love
it. A good tag team has good color coordination, Jem. It's one of the rules. It's one of the rules.
Less Looney Tunes, and we're seeing more bondage. Love
it. Yeah. I don't know how to I don't know how to not stop thinking about that. So like Lana and Natalya are interesting. So Lana took the pin here, which is expected. Because Natalia's not that
Natty's
bad.
the boat.
I love that.
She's
it's
the boat.
so shit.
Yeah.
The best,
and she's the winningest woman.
I love it. It's so dumb.
I love it.
It's the exact shit that we watch wrestling for. It's the dumb shit.
This is what Lana is good at, though. And like this brings us into this beautifully, right? Is like Lana talking about Natalya being the boat and being the winningest woman ever. She's bragging to Angel Garza backstage about this earlier in the night, and Angel's just like, he's like, he's like, your passion for justice is intoxicating and all this other, like, talking, like, he was chatting Lana up. And Zelina Vega comes up and she's like,
she's a married woman, Angel. And we've seen Bobby Lashley doing a bunch of hurting in the last couple of weeks. Why would you then go and hit on the married woman whose husband is over there just throwing people?
He's going to take you guys out. Your tag team is going to get the hurt business.
That's right. It ain't going to go well. God damn it, Angel Garza.
But
you
Lana's
horn
just
dog.
like, it was so funny.
Sucks the attention.
Oh, I love it. It was so funny. But yeah, obviously Zelina comes up with Andrade and she's like, this is the reason that we've lost our chance at the gold. And Garza's like, it's not my fault. He's the one that took the pin last week. Like, you're nothing without me and yada, yada, yada. And Andrade is like, what'd you say about my mama, basically? And they get into a fight and, like, Zelina cracks it. She's like, you know what? I can't deal with this anymore. And she storms off while Andrade and Angel Garza get the buzz on. So that's another tag team splitting up. Ugh. God, it really plays into the whole, like, these tag team titles need to be unified. But at the same time, I want to see Andrade and Angel go at it. I want to see that match. Because I
thought you were going to say you want to see Angel Garza and Lana go at it.
No.
I'm like, you know what? I'm down. I'm down. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter. Fucking Miro / Rusev, he's on AEW right now. He ain't going to see shit. He busy. Go, Angel. Get your smooch on.
Yeah, right.
Like, that demibird is gone. She's over in the Viking Raiders. She's getting a whole handful of fucking... she's feeling the raid, is what she's doing right now.
Oh, yeah.
She's feeling that raid.
Yeah.
So, Angel Garza, take this moment, get yourself some ravishing Russian.
Yeah.
While Miro's not looking.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Or Bobby Lashley.
But
whatever.
Interesting because this leads into later in the night.
Jesus Christ, Betson.
Well, it's interesting because this does lead into later in the night because we have the Raw Tag Team Championship, the Raw Women's Championship match, Asuka versus Mickie James, and Mickie James is like, this is probably my last chance to win. And we did discuss...
And they fucked it!
Hey?
And they fucked it!
They fucked it so bad.
Look, I already don't like this ref. They have a match and the ending's fucked. So I already don't like this ref because he's the one that only thing I've ever heard him do is just be like, come on, man, come on. Why don't you get back? Come on. And that's all I've ever heard him say. So, and I've never seen him like do a good job or even average job. I just know him as one shit thing.
Yeah,
and now he's just solidified that he's butt. He barely has done a job here. Yeah. And like, he calls
Yeah. He
there
calls
is
it
a situation.
Yeah,
He
so
calls
like,
that Mickey is unable to compete. You know, this is as a result of like a sleeper hold that Mickey had
which
on
she's
Asuka.
about to climb
But
out of. She puts her hand
yeah, so
down,
she grabs
and he
the
deems
mat
it
not
as
to
a
tap,
for
to
her.
grab the mat to get up. Ooh.
Yeah. And he
And
deems
like
it
the
as a
second
tap.
he calls it, but no, there wasn't, because they didn't say by submission.
No, but he's obviously like said nah as a tap, and then to cover his ass is like she can't she can't compete anymore.
Yeah, this is bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
And this comes off the back of the referee last week that botched the Ricochet match, where Ricochet clearly kicked out, but he said he didn't. Like,
No, he kicked out at like 2.98, like that. But then again, using AEW as another example, during that FTR Kenny and Hangman match, that ref hit 3 times, probably like hit the 3 count like 2 times. But because he made the call, it was 2. Because he's hit it as like they've kicked and he's hit it because that movement has happened.
yeah.
So he had the ability to go, I make the call was 2.
Yeah.
He could have done the same here.
Exactly right. But no, Mickey's not able to compete, and, you know, Asuka gets the win.
And you see her face. You see the face of not someone that can compete, the face of someone that's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly right.
So she rolls out of the ring in frustration. Asuka's baffled. Everyone on the Thunderdome looks like they've seen it, like they've all been tasered.
Yeah, nobody knows what the hell's going on. And then Zelina Vega comes out. She's very clearly taking...
Wearing a spray painted on shirt, by the way. I don't know how she wears what she wears.
She looks so good. But she comes out and she's like, I'm sick of dealing with those 2 ingrates. I have wasted my best years on those 2. And she's like, now it's time to, like, you know, do me for me, basically. And she's like, you know, Asuka, you're so reckless with that title. You're an ingrate as well. You're too busy wasting your time on superstars of the past when one of the best superstars of right now is right here in front of you. And I am coming for that title. And then slaps Asuka in the face and runs out. And I was like, yeah, Vega and Asuka, give it to me. Give it to me.
But what has she done for me lately? How can she just walk in and claim a shot?
That's the thing, is this is obviously going to open up...
Granted, there's no one else.
Yeah, but this is going to open up a lot of debate, obviously, with Mandy coming across and stuff like that. You know, Mandy's going to be like, well, you're just as entitled to the belt as I am. Like, why don't we fight it out in a number 1 contendership? And then you've got your Lanas and Natalias and stuff like that. So it's like, there is good competition for Asuka there. So I think this could really lead into some big, like, over-the-top rope, like, winner takes on Asuka type thing. Like, there's so many ways it could go. There is actually a lot of competition.
Mickey James got fucked. # justice for Mickey.
Yes.
Now that's Mickey James, not Mickey Mouse. Make sure you spell that correctly because that's a whole different campaign. Justice for Mickey with an IE.
Yeah.
She should get another shot, and
100%.
it should be pay-per-view. Give her a clash.
I agree entirely, because I think she's on the end of her tenure. I think she is. I don't think she's going to wrestle much longer.
Yeah.
And I think she deserves that one last shot.
Granted, she looks and performs amazing for someone of her age and a mother. She is pristine.
Yeah.
Future Hall of Famer, as they said.
100%. And
I can't argue that enough.
Even she said it. She's like, you may be good, but I'm great. And I was like, you fucking tell Asuka. Like, she's like, Asuka's going to be like, she's like, Asuka will be great one day, but she's not on my level just yet. And I was like, oh! Mickey is destined for so much more. Like, she deserves better. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, and give her that at Clash. That's what she should get that, and get that ref else. Get him,
right?
else. Fuck that guy.
It's like that Billy guy from TCW.
Fuck
get him out.
Yeah, he and them can make their own shitty wrestling promotion where every result is dumb.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Get out of here. I don't have time for you.
Yeah, exactly right.
What do you have time for, Jem? What is it? Something that's getting you the feels?
Something that's getting me going is the steel cage match we saw tonight. That was mad. So somehow.
So in order to somehow progress this idea that Dominic Mysterio only does stipulation matches, He's done two or three street fights. He's done a no holds barred, and he's now about to do a steel cage match against Seth Rollins.
Yeah, which was interesting. And like before the match, Seth is backstage and he hears a knock on his door and he calls Murphy and he's like, Murphy, come in. And it's like he's giving him like all this love and like, this is all part of the process and this is learning and like he's like, I need you to be ready tonight, Murphy. And Murphy's like, I'm ready. And he's like, I need you to be ready. I need you to do one thing for me. And he like grabs him by the face and throws him against the lockers. And he's like, stay the hell back here and stay out of my way because I can't deal with your mistakes tonight either. And yada, yada, yada. And just like rips into Buddy Murphy like he did the week before. And I was like, oh, I was getting excited for Buddy. I'm like, yay, Buddy's like made his redemption. And Seth was all like, it's okay that you got beat up. It happens. Like that's you paying penance or whatever. And then just absolutely rips into him, slaps him around a little bit, like holds him up by his jaw, and is like, just stay here and stay out of my way, basically. So come the steel cage match. Obviously, the Mysterios all come out with Dominic, as it is family affair, as we know. MVP goes on to say that Rey Mysterio is a horrible father for putting his son in the way of harm for the last 2 decades. And I was like, yeah. But this time Dominic's asking for it. Like, Dominic didn't want this last time. He wants this time. So the match goes on. At some point, Murphy shows up with a kendo stick in the ring and obviously helps Edge get the upper edge. Jesus, too many steel cage matches with that guy. Helps Seth Rollins get the upper edge. Because, Dom's tall and lanky. Dom's taller than Seth. Like, he can get out of that ring a lot quicker. But yeah, they're going about the match. The kendo stick happens. They're like, Dom's like really doing well. There was a part where like Seth did the classic whole like kick Dominic's leg off the rope, so he landed split-legged on the rope, and Dominic's just like, well, payback's a bitch, and shoves Seth's leg, so they both land on the rope like nuts first, and then they fell off at the same time.
And that unison groin pain was a very nice touch.
That was perfect. That was a beautiful little synchronized groin pain. But yeah, at this part, this is where Dominic goes for the cage door, and he opens it up, and Murphy sees what's going on, and Ray's there trying to help, like, grab Dominic's hand. So Murphy attacks Ray, and then thinking that Dominic's still at the door, he slams the door, but it was on Seth Rollins. So Murphy's fucked up again, real bad this time. And Murphy's like, shit. So he runs around the other side of the ring and tries to stop Dominic from climbing over. And eventually Seth ends up getting 2 stomps out of this and the pin for the win. And as he, comes out of the ring, he loses his shit at Murphy and just starts belting the shit out of him. Like, I told you, do as you're told, do as you're told. And Seth walks off and he, like, walks over to Angie and Aaliyah while Ray's all knocked out. Ray is in the ring with Dominic at this stage.
Ray ninjas his way in to check up on Dominic.
Yeah, and he goes to Angie, is like, good job. Hopefully you do a better job with her. And I was like, ooh, harsh words. So obviously Angie...
Mind you, I'm just going to put it out there, as a good friend of the show, Josh Robinson, big time Angie mark, and I understand. Yeah. Mama Mysterio is mad. Mama Mysterio looking banging.
Oh, she looks so good, huh?
Banging.
She looks real good. But the interesting part about all of this is when they obviously climb into the ring to check on Dominic, as Aaliyah's walking in the ring, she bobs down and she like puts her hand on Murphy's arm, like to check on him basically, like, oh my God, are you okay? And then she just quickly sort of jumps up before anybody notices what she's doing and climbs into the ring to check on Dom.
So let's discuss this, Jem. What do you see here? Using your powers, the powers of the brain.
I'm thinking that maybe there may be a sway in the disciple which causes him to turn on Seth the way Seth's treating him. And he essentially helps the Mysterios take out Seth Rollins. Maybe the influence of Aaliyah.
So there were 2 ways that we thought this would go. So I was watching this once again with good friend of the show, Craig. And our 2 scenarios were, one is exactly what Dash said in the chat. Buddy Murphy is going to be banging Ray's daughter.
Yeah.
That's track number 1. Best case scenario, he's going to get a bit of a strain in her. You know, right?
Yeah.
Number 1. Number 2, probably the more likely result. The Mysterio, like by Aaliyah doing that, it's showing the compassion that the Buddy needs, that he's not receiving.
Well, that's
under
why he
Seth
went with
Rollins.
Seth. Initially, he went with Seth because Seth showed him that compassion when he was down, and maybe
Showed him
Aaliyah's
that compassion, that
triggered on
understanding.
Mm-hmm. Maybe she's triggered on that. Just like if I be nice to him, maybe he'll see the light.
Not even that. It was just showing that, the Mysterios are caring. The fact that Ray sneaks in to check on Dominic. The fact that, Angie is there. The fact that their entire family is there to support Dominic. Where Seth is, presumably, I believe Buddy would have felt that he's part of the family with Seth Rollins being a disciple of him, right? That whole family feel, but he's like, I don't want you here. That is not how a family should operate.
No.
So what he's seeing here is true compassion, love, and understanding of a family. Yeah. And I think you should agree. I think we may even see Seth versus Buddy very, very soon.
Yeah, that would be mad. I'm all for that.
In the chat, they've really devolved into the idea of Buddy banging Aaliyah.
Oh no, gross.
It's gone. Yeah, Buddy Ray's daughter be going down under Dad Dick.
Yeah.
Aussie, Craig, Aussie.
I mean, Aaliyah is older than Dominic, and Dominic's 23, so
23.
Yeah, Dominic's 23, so yeah, interesting. Who knows where it goes? Yeah, you're definitely on the right track with the
I'm just laughing at that.
Yeah, Aussie.
I'm a child, sorry.
Oh, I love it.
Craig goes, she's 19, but I didn't Google it.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, no, I think that the big thing here will be the compassion, the understanding, that he believes Seth was providing him, the family, the La Familia.
La Familia. Yeah. Speaking of family, I guess, let's just talk about this whole Hurt Business thing.
Oh, that's the one I meant. Sure, that works.
Yeah. Well, they're basically a family. Cool. I guess.
They are a family.
Yeah.
They're
well,
a new member of
the whole
family.
ploy of all of this was the whole, so Cedric has a match against Ricochet after the whole outcoming of last week and that really questionable finish. And, he comes out talking about how, he was taking beatings for Apollo Crews when Apollo was champion and all this other stuff. And Ricochet's like, we were brothers. And, that's how the family thing plays into it. And he's like, no, I was your lackey. I took your beatings and yada, yada, yada. And Ricochet's like, that's fine, man. He's like, you thought it was bad having the Hurt Business come after you. Now you've got us after you. And I was like, oh, shit. Now this.
I'm not even remotely scared.
Yeah. But this match, I was all for it because holy shit, was this a hell of a match. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, Cedric did a lumbar check that I'm pretty sure yeeted Ricochet further than Keith Lee yeeted Adam Cole. That.
The lumbar check is by far one of my favorite moves in wrestling because when that shit pops, and they get that bounce, I think one of the best ones I ever seen was with Leo Rush.
Yes.
And yeah, you go, douche, and he just goes 5 feet in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, vicious. So, yeah, it's a hell of a move. But, my God, that match, just the whole match. It was a clean win this time. But, yeah, my God, it was an amazing match. Oh, that was beautiful. It's definitely one that you have to watch. But yeah, as this is all happening, obviously the Hurt Business get involved, which causes Apollo Crews to get involved, and then Eric joins the fray, and Eric and Bobby Lashley end up fighting themselves off backstage because they're in a match.
Well, because we come to learn that Ivar is out with a broken
collarbone.
Clavicle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why I said last week I'm pretty sure the match was ended because Ivar was injured. So that's why that questionable finish happened. But yeah, regardless, as this is going on, the venue like blacks out and we see Retribution pop up and they give their anonymous style video again. But they do say in this video, they say, you know, we spent our time at the Performance Center, and they talk about selling out and stuff like this. And it immediately made me think it's nobody on the main roster. It has to be NXT superstars, or even like superstars that haven't even come into NXT yet. Just people that are just stuck in the Performance Center and they're getting sick of just being there and not having anything come for them. So they're seeking their retribution for that.
Well, the big difference here is, so this one, they weren't clouded in much level of darkness. You could see their eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty confident you could identify them. Now, Dash, if you are still in the chat, I'd love you to do your little bit of dirt sheet Dash hunting and have a look at what the rumor mills are saying with those faces.
Well, we were discussing it on TCW. There's possibly Mia Yim and Dakota Kai in there.
Well, the ones that I was pretty confident Mia Yim, and I think I support that. Like, she was right in the middle of this shot.
Yeah.
Dominic Dijakovic is there as well. He's the big guy. Yeah. Chelsea Green has been long run rumored to be part of it.
Yeah.
Because yes, the woman in there, the other woman certainly wasn't Dakota. And a bunch of other randos came around the back. So I think a lot of the people that we would have seen in the crowd when we were having the Performance Center people in the audience.
Yeah.
But Mercedes Martinez is apparently could be part of it.
Yeah.
Dio Madden. Dio Madden would be cool.
Dio
and
Madden
Shane
would be cool.
Thorne.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and Shane Thorne too.
That's according to Dash and his
Dirt sheet.
his little sources. So
yeah, I could see
that is pretty cool. Like, because I believe Mercedes Martinez, they just had like I saw a tweet recently about like a good luck sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
None of it is cool, says Dash. Mia Yim, I like Mia Yim. I think she'd do mad on main.
Yeah.
Dijakovic is cool only because the potential for some storylines with Kuth.
Yeah. Cool.
Following on from NXT, but then again, because they believe that NXT doesn't exist, I don't see any of that coming across.
Yeah.
I do certainly believe this Retribution stuff's a little bit long in the tooth. Yeah. I want to know who they are. I want to know who they be. That's right. Who they be. I want to know who they are, and I think like that's the next step. Like, having them be nameless people is boring. Like that's uneventful. That's
you can't build an attachment to an
word.
anonymous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If with their subpar acts of violence, that's not like you can stand. And there seems to be this mixed understanding of what they're there for. Yeah. So, like, if you can't get behind the individual, get behind their message. But their message is so fucking confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's very convoluted. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really care, especially because they come and ruin the end of the night anyway. Like, they interrupt the final match and just, ruin everything, which is a bit shit. But at the same time, it kind of... not bad either. Like, we'll talk about it later. One thing that I didn't really care about either as much as I wanted to was Kevin Owens and Aleister Black. This little feud has come out of nowhere. Aleister Black shows up with his headband on, covering his eye, and then he's not covering his eye. One thing I did notice,
like a pirate.
Yeah, one thing I did notice though is his eye has been injured because like he's a Scandinavian dude, so he has naturally light eyes, right? So one of his eyes looked like it was like fully black, like it was properly damaged, like the pupil had expanded or something. Or it was that was interesting to see. Anyway, nice to see that he actually he's not faking it. There is damage there. But yeah, thanks to the Retribution distraction, Kevin Owens was able to get a stunner and get the win. But I didn't really care. Like last week was enough, I guess. But it's. KO's clearly got the upper hand here. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't really care. And then obviously...
Look, one thing I'll appreciate, though, I appreciate Kevin Owens, because one thing we love here, Jem, at the Young and the Wrestlers, is when they throw back to old stories.
Yeah.
And the Kev's entire promo, Big Kev Dog, Big Kev Dog was like, there's that one time that you sat in a room for a fucking year and a half, being like, come fight me, and now I'm here to fight you, and you're like, I don't want to fight.
Yeah. He's like, clearly it bruised his ego that nobody wanted to play.
Yeah, so how about you pick a fight with me?
Yeah, that was a good...
I really enjoyed that.
KO's good like that. I'll definitely give him that. His promo is second to none. And then we did obviously talk about it on Raw, the Tag Team Championships versus Champions match. Cesaro and Shinsuke take the big L, with Dorks getting a sneaky frog splash and taking the pin. So to be expected. Like I said, they're probably going to be consolidated titles. But
yeah,
the main event, the piece de resistance of Raw was Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee. So
and fucking Keith.
Yeah. So Drew McIntyre comes out.
Is limitless, Jen.
Limitless. One thing I loved about this, right, is so Drew McIntyre's talking about what's going on. Adam Pearce comes out and he goes, look, we don't know the state of Randy. We don't know his medical condition, nothing. So there's a chance he may not even make it to Clash of Champions. You have a match against Keith tonight. If that's the case that Randy can't make it, if Keith wins tonight, Keith is coming for that title at Clash of Champions. It's just how it is. And I love Drew McIntyre's like, who put you in charge anyway? This is champ time. Who put you in charge? But then Keith Lee, limitless he is, comes on out and I love it because like as he's walking out, Drew McIntyre's just like, I'm basking in it. And he's like, bask more. Bask in it. I was like, that's great. That was a beautiful little nod there. But you know, obviously, there leads into a little bit of a backstage bit where Keith's having a chat with Charlie, I think it is, one of them. But he mentions it's like, you know, I'm not going to like. She's like, are you going to use like the fractured jaw to your advantage? And it's like, you know, I'm not gonna deliberately try and hurt my friend, but I'm gonna do what it takes to get my championship opportunity. So I was like, okay. And like we said with, you know, the whole like Sami Zayn forfeiting his title thing, like Drew McIntyre was the one who said it. He's like, I would rather have my jaw wide shut and have to leave here in an ambulance every night than just give up my title because I can't compete. You know, he's like, one good knock is going to put my jaw in fucking, like, he's going to wire my jaw shut. He's like, I'd rather that than having to just forfeit my title and not compete. And I was like, see, Sammy? Like, you could have, you know, real champions.
Show your fucking jaw. Make your jaw shut, Sammy.
Yeah.
Just seal it shut.
Exactly.
That's the resolution.
The resolution here is shut your mouth. Know your role and shut your
title.
mouth.
Yeah, the title stuff's fine, I guess, but just fucking seal your mouth shut, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. Like, leave it, seal your mouth shut and leave in an ambulance. No, but I was hyped for this because like Keith says it. He's like, we know each other really well. I know you back to front. I know when things are coming. I know how to take care of them. And I was like, oh, trouble in paradise.
I love how he tried to stroke his face like a kitty cat and then...
Yeah, and he's slapping it away and he's like, don't. He's like, you do it again. And like Keith goes to do it again. Like, that's what friends do. You're like, and then, they get into a massive punch on backstage. Like, massive. And they get separated and then a match happens and then we come back and they're still fighting backstage. And then, like, you know, they had all these officials beforehand, but it takes just one Adam Pearce to separate them. And Adam Pearce is like, oi, like, stop this now and wait for your match. Otherwise, I'm taking the championship title opportunities off you.
He's like, I'm turning this show around and we're all going back to Winnipeg. Simpsons reference.
Yeah. But yeah, so this obviously led into an amazing...
Glad you watched The Simpsons.
What'd you say? Oh, yeah. I gotcha. I remember. I'm sorry. Took me a second. But yeah, it leads into this amazing match. Like, Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre was amazing. And Keith, obviously, being the limitless competitor that he is, he going for the jaw. What else are you going to do? It's his only weakness. So, vicious match, which, you know, doesn't have a conclusion because Retribution interrupt and start attacking. And, like, Drew and Keith sort of look at each other and like, fuck it. And they attack Retribution back, but they obviously get overpowered because there's more of Retribution than there is them. And then the Hurt Business finally come out because they're like the new security or something. Like, they've, I don't know, something about being security and, you know, getting rid of the boys because we're the men and invoicing Adam Pearce or something because we're not volunteers, we're a business. So they come out to do their job.
No, they're a conglomerate, actually. They specialize in that nature, and they were a conglomerate.
Okay, there you go. But they, they come out and
the Her conglomerate didn't quite have the same ring to it, though.
No. It's no prestige worldwide. But, they come and do their job very poorly. And then the show ends on Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee doing a paired swan dive onto the whole mess of people. And it was just a beautiful way to end. But I'm pissed that there was no conclusion to this match because I want to see Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee for the title. Just saying.
It could still happen.
I love Randy, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather see Keith Lee.
We've got another week. We've got a go-home show before Clash. Mm-hmm. They've got the Bambalance match coming up.
Mm-hmm. They do. Yep. Oh, yeah, because Drew put that forward this week, and he's like, let's make it a Bambalam. Like we suggested last week. It is Woe, Black Betty, Blambalam.
Yeah, Blambalance. Yeah. So, look, this is how I see it going. I see the, in short, the match goes ahead. We get on paper, we get Keith versus. Essentially, Randy Orton comes in last minute, fucking breaks the match. He wins the title. So Keith gets into a position where he kicks living shit out of Drew McIntyre, or they get to a final point. Randy comes in, bunch, throws Drew into the Bambalance, wins the Bambalance, and then Keith will then be like, "You son of a bitch," and then he will go for the title and do all the winning.
Yeah, I love it.
He because he's already beaten Randy Orton.
Yes.
You know, next thing you know, Randy Bambalance, and then Keith Lee is your champion. I think I may have missed some steps between there and there, but I don't give a shit. That's how it's going.
Yeah.
Randy comes in last minute, gets the win. Because as we've come to learn, in terms of when you can enter a match, there are no rules.
Yeah, apparently.
Roman Reigns has no rules.
Yep.
Randy has no rules.
Yeah. Yeah, no, bring it on. I'm all for it.
All right, Jem, how do you, using our not-so-patented Kurt Angle rating system, what do you give it?
Oh, well, like we say every week, 3 hours is just too much. It's too long. There's too much show. I'm tired at the end of Raw. It's exhausting. And there was a lot of, questionable shit. There's too much going on with the Hurt Business, and I don't care enough about them. They just happen to be everywhere all the time, and it's frustrating, and it's just while the good stuff was good, it was, look, I'm going to call it down the middle and give it a Kurt as well. Not terrible.
I'm in the same boat.
Not great.
It's a not as positive Kurt as SmackDown, but it is a Kurt.
Yeah. The other Kurt was enthusiastic.
This is a soft Kurt.
Yeah.
Where SmackDown was a hard Kurt.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's probably
very
the big
flaccid.
difference. Very flaccid.
Yeah.
Not a not a very hard Kurt. There were some things that are a bit questionable. But yeah, if we can see Dick's Grabber next week, that'll be
a cool match. I'll give that.
Yeah, I plus the thing that makes it super flaccid is the Mickie James finish. I hope there's some retribution for that, but not that retribution. I hope we see some. They need to fucking finish this, or at least get it onto its next step. Yeah. Retribution is fucking dumb. It's been dumb for 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
It is absolutely boring, and I don't know why they're trying to fill it out as long as it is. They're beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
You know, it's not it's not doing good. They need to do something with it now.
Yeah.
And seeing as they're moving it, when it was if they just stayed on Raw for this X amount of time, I think it would be less shit.
Yeah.
But because we saw them at Raw, SmackDown, Raw, it's just like, well, we've seen them 11. It feels like we've seen them 11 times and they've not done anything.
Yeah.
And that is a problem. But anyways, Jem, that does bring us to the end of the show. Now, I know we've been here forever. One thing I want to do, though, before we end the show, over the week, I watched You Cannot Kill David Arquette.
How'd it go?
So it was good. So for those who don't know, You Cannot Kill David Arquette is a documentary about David Arquette and his return to professional wrestling. For those that don't know, back in the year 2000, he was promoting the movie Ready to Rumble when he was at WCW, and he won the championship. And people believe this to be one of the biggest schmears on wrestling as a business, wrestling as a sport. It's where that moment blurred between what could have been believable outcomes and scripted. So understandably, he was given shit for the next 20 years. There have been many people saying it was one of the worst decisions the writer of WCW at the time was like, this is the worst decision we've ever made. Who was the other person? So like Ric Flair gets interviewed and he's like, I like David Arquette, but that was a fucking dumb move. Yeah. You know what I mean? Vince Russo, thank you, Dash, for the chat there. So it is essentially him making the decision to do it legit. Yeah. So he gets fit, he gets trained, goes into the independents. He goes down to Mexico, down to Lucha, and the whole idea is him and his bootstraps getting up, going up, and shipping up and doing out. Yeah, I mean, and getting to a point where he wins the respect and he goes hard. Love it. There are some really brilliant moments in this documentary that feel super legitimate. So, like, he's there in Mexico. He's with a couple of lucha libres, and they, after they train him and he has a successful match, they, demask, and like that feels emotional because that can't be a work because that shit. What that means. Yeah. And then one of them signs the mask and passes it to him and passes it on as like a gift of good faith, and like you could see that Arquette, being a long-term fan of wrestling, knows what that means. He's emotionally moved by being gifted this mask. Wow. But there are other moments where it does feel like, in true wrestling fashion, like the whole thing's a work. Yeah. Like it feels really bizarre in some places. Yeah. But towards the back end of the film, there shows a death match that he has with this gentleman where he gets a fluorescent light tube to the neck and he starts pissing blood out of what presumably that big artery, which I can't think of right now. Yeah. To his credit, jugular. He's bleeding, he's pissing out, he goes out, jugular, he goes out, comes back in, finishes the match, gets in and goes straight to the hospital. Mm. So it turns out the gentleman that's with him and carrying him for that time is Luke Perry. Oh, wow. Yeah. So that's massive. Yeah. So then the most I know it's spoilers for the end of the doco. The most beautiful moment at the very end of the episode, at the end of the documentary, he has a match with Jungle Boy. No. So Luke Perry's son. I'm already welling up thinking about that. It's this big crescendo where they have a match and it's magic and it's awesome, and that they stand there together at the end and like they, have a moment because we now know that Luke Perry has since passed, and that happened during the filming of this documentary. Yeah. Like it's a very heartfelt, real moment between these two people, because like that, Luke and David have been mates for years and years and years. So, he's known Jack for forever. Yeah. So to get them to share that moment together in that collective interest, in that, that's emotion, like that. Watching it was emotional. I was watching with Craig, and he and I both had this little moment of like, I'm not crying, you're crying. Just talking about it's got me welling up. That's beautiful. Yeah, It was because I did not put two and two together as I was watching.
Yeah.
We saw Luke Perry and he was there, but I'm like, oh man, fuck yeah, Luke Perry, that's rad. 90210, woo.
Yeah.
And then at the end, because you see Peter Avalon earlier in the doco as well, I'm like, oh shit, fucking Peter Avalon, librarian's there, mad.
Yeah.
You know, you see Booker, you see a bunch of names that you kind of know, which is rad. And then at the end, they see Jungle Boy, I went, oh, get fucked! And then it kind of connected. And I was like, no!
Wow.
And then I started crying. But, yeah, no, it's great. There are moments where it's awesome and it feels legit and it's totally legit because he gets fucking proper hurt.
Yeah,
but then there are moments where it feels like a giant work. It's really bizarre. And in beautiful wrestling style, it blurs that line. And
Love it.
So you leave it going, that was awesome. I think.
Love it.
You know?
I love that.
Because every good doco isn't 100% real. There's always things in docos that are questionable. And that's what's great about wrestling. Because wrestling has that weird line. It's what we run here
that's
in
what we love about it.
kayfabe. Yeah. Beautiful. But anyway, let's wrap up the show. Thank you everyone for watching. If you can, go check out You Cannot Kill David Arquette when it is readily available. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a blast. And of course, WWE. We'll be back next week as always. This is Young and the Wrestlers in your face. It's the same show, but slightly edgier. We talk about dicks a lot. And it comes at you every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/popcultures, Twitter, Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the down below area. If you want to support the show, you can by watching it live and join that conversation as it happens. And that's over at twitch.tv/thepopculturist. You can, if you listen to us on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating on the iTunes, on the Apple Podcast, or your Spotify, or if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, subscribe as well. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit without logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
And we'll see you then. The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.